Hey everyone, welcome back. It is Sunshine here with the Sober Witch Life podcast, and I'm super excited. We are continuing to talk about the witch's 13 steps to recovery. And if you've been following along, you might know that we're on step 6 this week. If you haven't been following along and this is your first time, we're talking about the sixth step in that 13 steps of the witch's path to recovery today. And the reality is every single time I go back to these, I just get so much more excited looking at them because I realize like how much this was my way. This is how, we're in September, so I can officially say next month I will be celebrating 5 years in recovery, and I'm taking it one day at a time. So I'm looking a little bit of ahead and being optimistic. But it's true. And so we're talking about step 6, right? But we're going to start before we go there. We're going to start with a little bit of story time. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about one of the things, uh, with a sober witch. My belief is when we identify as a witch, we identify uh, with these beliefs, a couple of core beliefs: the belief in psychic abilities and divination, the belief in magic and ritual, and the belief in healing and energy, right? Those are some of the things. And so that second one, this magic and the ritual, is where we're talking today. This is where we're touching base on that sixth step. um and once upon a time, when I look back at my magical practices prior to stepping into recovery, I looked at magic as triage. I would have a situation that would come up in my life that would compel me to try to fix or address it, so to speak, with magic. And I think I go all the way back into, I've been practicing since I was, I think, 16. And, in the beginning, it's a lot of like, oh no, the love and the boyfriends, finding a boyfriend. It was, I'm not doing so good in school. Help me, you know, get a passing grade on this particular test. And, throughout the years as I moved into my 20s, it was a lot of like job hunting and job searching and finding a new job. It was finding a new home, a new place to rent. It was, I would find out somebody was sick or under the weather, and I would, do a spell around their magic. It was always in this like very reactive type of place, right? Where I would find a situation that I wanted to shift and change. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, that's the beauty of magic. That's the, like kind of like the awesomeness of being a witch, is we get to leverage and lean into this spell work, right? We get to lean into the act of magic in order to bring about changes. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, who wouldn't want to be a witch, right? But in recovery, I've learned that magic is an everyday thing. That the most potent form of magic is the magic of just living, breathing, just invoking the divine within ourselves. And there are a lot of different things that kind of brought me to that path, while I was in my road to recovery. But I will tell you, and I will be very frank with you, the number one thing was to stop drinking, to admit that I had that problem, to step into the road to recovery. That allowed me to wake up, to open my eyes, and to see how much magic I could evoke within a day-to-day basis. So, why am I sharing all this with you? Right? Because I mean, I could share all sorts of stories and spells that I conducted throughout the years, some of them working and some of them not, some of them frustrating me. I remember, um, it's so funny to me, right? It's amusing because you look back sometimes, and if you're pretty good at keeping a book of shadows, you'll start to look back at some of your spells. Or, I mean, a lot of times I have spells that I've written on pieces of paper and folded up and tucked away and in places, right? I'm a naughty witch as far as that goes. But I even remember when I had left my really, really toxic work environment back in 2017, in 2018, beginning of it, I conducted a spell when I finally decided, what I wanted to do in my next kind of phase of my career. And I very specifically asked for a vice president's title, you know? And I look back now on that and I kind of laugh because I never got it. You know, I actually like skipped and I guess went full blown into like owner CEO type of status. But once upon a time I went down but I didn't get it. I had all of the responsibilities in my last corporate job that I left back in the spring of a vice president, like of that kind of like level, but never the title, right? And I think about that every now and again because I think if my ego would have received that title, I would have been very attached to it and I would have had a hard time letting go of it because I had done magic to get it, right? So I just I just like look at that and just see like how often because I was doing spell work or magic just in these triaged moments, I look back now and I can kind of recognize how those occasional spells would like push me a little bit further down the path, but they really weren't what was allowing me to live a very beautiful life, which I think I do today. Right. And so step 6 is all about, I'll literally read it to you. I am entirely ready to invoke the powers of magic to help leave the past behind and live a life in the vibration of my life's purpose. Right. I'm entirely ready to invoke the powers of magic. Right. I'm going to lean into and start leveraging and using it. And it is intentionally written because we have to be willing to let go of things in order to bring about a beautiful life. And so you get to use magic now, not just to show you your life's purpose, not just to remove limiting beliefs, not just to rewrite some stories about that allow you to align yourself to your true desires and want. Um, you get to use magic to focus really on that inner alchemy, right? Changing. I mean, this is what recovery is about, changing like literally your inner own alchemy in order to see the external changes around you, right? You're going to be able to live magic in everything, the way that you wake up in the morning, the way that, for me, I lay in bed and I start to talk to my guides if I'm laying there and I don't quite want to get out of bed yet. And I talk to them and I ask them, like, is there anything I should know of? Is there anything going on today, that I should be doing? Is there things that I should be doing differently within my life, you get to use magic in the way that you brush your teeth. I'm a huge fan of incorporating magical rituals, intentions, and affirmations into our everyday thing. So think about this. Think about standing in front of the mirror and brushing your teeth and literally being like, with the intention of, may I only speak my truth. May I only speak my truth. May the truth come from me easily, right? Depending upon what you may want to do. How you shower, thinking about this, so many of us that are in recovery, right, especially if we identify as a witch, are highly sensitive. So imagine every single one of your showers now invoking the power of magic, cleansing and removing all of the things that might have been stagnant. Imagine your limiting beliefs literally washing away off of you, right? How you make your coffee, you know? I add a bit of like chicory in and I add some herbs and spices into my coffee. And, as I'm stirring and making it, I think about, even as I add a bit of coconut sugar, I hope my day is filled with sweetness. How you cook, how you make dinner for your family, how you clean around your house, how you work, how you show up to work. Every single thing in your life has the ability to invoke magic. And it's in that when we start to live every moment in that space, right? That when we're ready to do that, when we're ready to live with magic in everything, when we're ready to say, I am no longer going to stay in the low vibrations. And I mean, I say this to people all the time, all the time. If you were to look at my life today, 5 years almost, versus what it was 5 years ago, there are very few things in it that are the same. We want a different life. We have to be willing to live differently. And as a witch in recovery, step 6 says that you're ready to use magic to be able to do this transformation. All right, my dear friends, I hope that you're ready, right? Each of these steps build upon each other. Each of these steps are working magically within in each other. And this one is where we start to get to see some of the beauty of the power of magic and what it's able to bring. Until next time, my dear friends, much love from me to all of you.